Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. On today's video, I'm going to be predicting the 2023 CFL season. Before we get into today's video, please smash that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell if you're new to my channel. Chances are if you're watching this video, that means you really love sports, and also drop a like on this video. Let's start out in the West Division. The Edmonton Elks, 3-15. Edmonton had another bad season last year, being tied for the worst record in the league. In the 2022 season, they had a record of 4 wins and 14 losses, worth 8 points, and they finished in dead last in the West Division. With those 14 losses last season, that was the most losses in a season for them since the 2013 campaign. That was also their second worst season since the beginning of the 21st century. They have missed the playoffs in back-to-back seasons in a row for the first time since the 2006 and 2007 seasons. Their last winning season came in the 2018 campaign. Edmonton went 1-11 against their division rivals last year. Their offense last season was the worst in the league, and their defense was also the worst unit in the league. By all means, I think that Edmonton will have another bad season this year, and they will be the worst team in the league with 6 points. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, 5-13. The Roughriders had a disappointing season last year by having a losing season for the first time since 2016. Last season, they had a record of 6 wins and 12 losses, worth 12 points. And they also finished the season with a 7-game losing streak. They also missed the playoffs, and that ends a streak of 4 consecutive playoff appearances in a row. And the team hasn't missed the playoffs in back-to-back years in a row since 2015 to 2016. Last year, the team went 3-8 against their division rivals. Their offense wasn't that great last year, ranking 7th in the league in points scored. The most points they scored in a game was 41 in Game 4. Their defense, on the other hand, wasn't that good either, ranking 2nd to dead last in points allowed. The most points they gave up in a game was 54 in Game 13. So for the new season, my prediction is that the Roughriders won't be that good of a team this season, and they will finish the campaign with 10 points. The Calgary Stampeders, 11-7. They had another great season last year by making the playoffs for a 18th consecutive year in a row. And that's the most playoff appearances in a row in franchise history. Last season, they had a record of 12 wins and 6 losses, worth 24 points. In the playoffs, they played against the BC Lions in the division semifinals. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 30-16. The team has had a winning record in every year since the 2008 campaign, and their last losing season came in 2007. In those 18 straight playoff appearances in a row, they have made 6 Grey Cup appearances and winning 3 of those appearances in that time. They went 7-5 against their division rivals last year. The team had the best offense in the league in points scored. The most points they scored in a game was 56 in Game 12. Their defense was really great, ranking 2nd in the league in points allowed. The highest amount of points they gave up in a game was 41 in Game 8. My prediction for the new season is that they will have another great season this year, and they will finish the campaign with 22 points. The BC Lions, 12-6. The BC Lions had a wonderful season last year by making the playoffs for the first time since the 2018 campaign. Last season, they had a record of 12 wins and 6 losses, worth 24 points. That was their first winning record since 2018, and that was their best record in a campaign since the 2016 season. In the playoffs, they played against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the division finals. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 28-20. The last time the BC Lions made the Grey Cup was back in the 2011 campaign. Overall, the team has won 6 championships in team history. They went 8-4 against their division rivals last year. The BC Lions had a really talented offense last year, ranking 3rd in the league in points scored. The most points they scored in a game was 59 in Game 1. Their defense was pretty great, ranking 3rd in the league in points allowed. The highest amount of points they allowed in a game was 43 in Game 4. So my prediction for the new season is that the BC Lions will be a contender to win the CFL Championship this year, and they will finish the season with 24 points. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 14-4. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers had another fantastic season last year by making the Grey Cup for a 3rd consecutive year in a row. In the Grey Cup, they play against Toronto. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 24-23. In the regular season last year, they had a record of 15 wins and 3 losses, worth 30 points. They also had their best regular season in franchise history last year in wins. Winnipeg has made the playoffs every year since the 2016 season, and their last non-playoff season and winning record came in the 2015 campaign. They went 10-1 against their division rivals last year. They had the 2nd best offense in the league in points scored. The most points they scored in a game was 54 in Game 13. Winnipeg had the most dominant defense in the league last year in points allowed. The highest amount of points they allowed in a game was 48 in Game 14. I absolutely think that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will have another fantastic season this year and could make their 4th Grey Cup in a row, and will finish the season with 28 points. So that's my West Division standing predictions for the 2023 season. Now let's go to the East Division. The Ottawa Redblacks, 6-12. They had a horrible season last year, being tied for the worst team in the league. Last season, they had a record of 4 wins and 14 losses, worth 8 points. And they were also winless at their home stadium. The Redblacks haven't had a winning record since 2018. And they also haven't made a playoff spot since the 2018 campaign. They went 3-7 against their division rivals last year. Their offense wasn't that good last year, ranking 2nd to dead last in points scored. The most points they scored in a game was 38 in Game 11. Their defense wasn't much better last year, ranking 7th in the league in points allowed. The highest amount of points they allowed in a game was 45 in Game 13. So my prediction for the new season is that they will be a little bit better team, but they will finish in last place in their division with 12 points. The Montreal Alouettes, 8-10. Montreal had another great season last year by making the playoffs for a 3rd straight season in a row. In the playoffs, they play against Toronto in the division finals. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 34-27. Also, in that playoff appearance, they won their first playoff game since 2014, and their last Grey Cup appearance came in the 2010 campaign. In the regular season last year, they had a record of 9 wins and 9 losses, worth 18 points. Montreal went 5-5 against their division rivals last year. Their offense was pretty good last year, ranking 4th in the league in points scored. The most points they scored in a game was 40 in Game 6. On the other hand, their defense was their weakness last year, ranking 5th in the league in points allowed. The highest amount of points they allowed in a game was 41 in Game 4. This season, my prediction is that Montreal will be a playoff contender and will finish the season with 16 points. The Toronto Argonauts, 10-8. Toronto had a wonderful season last year by winning their 18th championship in franchise history. In the Grey Cup last year, they played against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They won that game 24-23. In the regular season, they had a record of 11 wins and 7 losses, worth 22 points. Toronto has made the playoffs in back-to-back seasons in a row for the first time since the 2012-2013 seasons. They went 7-3 against their division rivals last year. Their offense ranked 5th in the league in points scored. The most points they scored in a game was 45 in Game 13. Their defense ranked 4th in the league in points allowed. The highest amount of points they allowed in a game was 44 in Game 2. So my prediction is that Toronto will have another great season this year and could win their second straight championship in a row, and will finish the season with 20 points. The Hamilton Tiger Cats, 11-7. The Hamilton Tiger Cats had a disappointing season last year even though they did make the playoffs. That's because they didn't have a winning record. In the playoffs, they play against Montreal in the division semifinals. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 28-17. In the regular season, they had a record of 8 wins and 10 losses, worth 16 points. That was their first losing season since the 2018 campaign. Since 2009, they have made the playoffs every year except for 2 seasons in 2012 and 2017. They went 5-5 against their division rivals last year. Their offense wasn't that great, ranking 6th in the league in points scored. The most points they scored in a game was 48 in Game 13. On the other hand, their defense was their kryptonite last year, ranking 6th in the league. The most points they allowed in a game was 37 in Game 11. So I absolutely believe that the Hamilton Tiger Cats will have a bounce-back season this year, and they will finish the season with 22 points. So that's my East Division standing predictions for the 2023 season. Now let's go to the playoffs. The Calgary Stampeders versus the BC Lions. So my prediction for this playoff game between these two teams is that the BC Lions will win this game over the Stampeders. The Montreal Alouettes versus the Toronto Argonauts. So my prediction for this playoff game between these two teams is that Toronto will win this game over Montreal and will advance to the next round. Now let's go to the division finals. The BC Lions versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. This game will be a tough battle between these two teams, and my prediction is that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will win this game and will advance to the 110th Grey Cup. The Toronto Argonauts versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So my prediction is that the Hamilton Tiger Cats will win this game over Toronto and will advance to the 110th Grey Cup. In the 110th Grey Cup, I have the Hamilton Tiger Cats versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. In the 110th Grey Cup, I have the Winnipeg Blue Bombers winning their 13th Grey Cup in team history over the Hamilton Tiger Cats this year. So those are my predictions for the CFL this season. Who do you think is going to win the championship this year? Let me know in the comments down below. Before you leave, please smash that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell if you're new to my channel. And if you love sports, this is definitely the place for you, and also share this video with more sports fans. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Nathan, I'll see you guys all in my next video. Just keep loving sports.